They always looked like the couple who made it. Emily and Mark Bennett. Neighbors saw them as the definition of stability. A nice house in the suburbs, 2 kids, a golden retriever that greeted everyone. A life that seemed almost too perfect. But perfection has a way of hiding the deepest cracks. Emily was 35, thoughtful, calm, the kind of woman who wrote thank you notes and remembered birthdays. Mark was ambitious, charming, the guy who knew how to make everyone laugh, even when life felt heavy. For years, their marriage felt solid, not magical, but steady, comfortable, safe. Until the night Emily noticed something different. It was a Tuesday, nothing special, kids asleep, TV humming quietly, and Mark sitting at the edge of the couch, smiling at his phone. Smiling in a way she hadn't seen in years. "Who's that?" she asked. He barely looked up. "Just work." But the smile didn't look like work. Emily brushed it off, but that moment stayed with her, like a small stone in her shoe, annoying at first, and then impossible to ignore. Weeks passed, and the signs grew louder. Late-night showers, business trips he never mentioned before, a cologne she didn't recognize, and the way he suddenly started caring about his appearance again. New shirts, new haircut, even new running shoes. One night, after he left for meetings, Emily sat at their kitchen table, hands wrapped around a cup of coffee, heart wrapped around a growing fear. She whispered to herself, "Please, don't let this be what I think it is." But truth always finds a way in. It happened on a rainy Friday evening. The kids were at her sister's place. She was alone in the quiet house when Mark's phone buzzed on the counter. A message preview lit up the screen. "Can't wait to see you tonight." Her breath caught. Her hands shook, and in that moment, she realized the truth she had been avoiding. It wasn't just work. It wasn't stress. It wasn't her imagination. He was seeing someone who wasn't her. Emily unlocked his phone. She didn't feel guilty, not for 1 second, and what she saw broke something inside her. Photos, messages, plans, little jokes, memories he was building, not with her, but with another woman. Her name was Olivia, 27, a coworker, new at the company. Emily closed the phone slowly, placed it back on the counter, and realized she couldn't breathe. The betrayal wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was quiet, like a blade sliding between ribs. She didn't scream. She didn't call him. She just sat in the dark kitchen, listening to the ticking clock. When Mark came home past midnight, smelling of rain and someone else's perfume, he quietly hung his coat and walked in like everything was normal. Emily watched him from the hallway. "Did you have a good night?" she asked softly. He froze, just for a second, but she saw it, the panic, the guilt. "Yeah, long meeting," he muttered. She smiled a painful, small smile. "Of course." He didn't know she knew, not yet. The next day, Emily made a decision, a calm, terrifying decision. She followed him. He left at noon, saying he had errands. She waited 10 minutes, got in her car, and drove. She watched as he pulled into a quiet downtown cafe, a place they used to go to on early dates, before life got busy, before the distance grew. A few minutes later, Olivia arrived, young, put together, nervous in an excited way. And when Mark stood up to hug her, Emily felt the last piece of her old life crumble. He touched Olivia's back gently, the way he used to do with her, before routine replaced romance. Emily sat in her car, hands shaking, watching the man she built a decade with build a new world without her. She didn't cry. Her tears had frozen somewhere on the drive. That evening she prepared dinner. The kids talked. Mark acted normal, and Emily watched him with a strange calmness. After they put the kids to bed, Emily stood in the living room. "Mark, we need to talk." He looked up. Something in her voice made his face pale. "What's going on?" She took a breath, steady, strong. "I know." He blinked. "What?" "I know about her, Olivia." Silence, heavy, crushing. Mark's face drained. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Emily continued, her voice quiet but sharp enough to cut. You didn't just break our marriage. You broke the version of myself that trusted you without question." Mark stepped forward, desperate. "Emily, please, I made a mistake." She shook her head slowly. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. This was a choice, over and over again." His shoulders collapsed. He reached out, but she stepped back. For the first time, he realized she wasn't begging him to stay. Emily wasn't that woman anymore. Over the next hours, they talked. Or rather, he talked. Excuses, apologies, fear. And she listened, not to find answers, but to confirm the one truth she already knew. She deserved more. At sunrise, she packed a small bag, not to leave forever, but to breathe. She stayed at her sister's for a few days, thinking, reflecting, and slowly rebuilding the pieces of herself he had shattered. Mark tried calling, texts, voicemails, flowers at the door. None of it changed the fact that the foundation of their marriage had collapsed long before she found the messages. Emily returned home the next week. Mark was sitting at the kitchen table, eyes red, hands trembling. "Are you coming back?" he whispered. Emily sat down across from him. "I'm coming back for the kids and for myself. But the question is, are you willing to rebuild this with honesty, or do we end here?" Mark cried. For the first time in their entire marriage, he truly cried. And Emily saw something she hadn't seen in years. Fear of losing her. Real fear. The story didn't end that night. Not with a fight, not with a goodbye, not with forgiveness. It ended with a choice. A choice to rebuild, brick by painful brick, or to walk away and start again. And sometimes, the hardest part of betrayal is realizing the story of your marriage isn't over, just rewritten. Slowly, carefully, they began again. And Emily, stronger than she ever knew, never forgot the night everything broke. Because that night was also the night she finally found herself.